Okay, people. So today we have Doug McCorkle, who is the star and I guess, real life inspiration of this. I don't know what you call it, this crazy ass journey that we witness in the new film, I'm an Electric Lampshade. And we're also joined by co producer Alex. Um, sorry, Alex. I forgot.
Alex Rollins Berg.
Yes, Alex Dallas Rollins Berg. That's the one. So, I'm Electric Lampshade, and just this whole journey. What came first, man?
Well, definitely, they both kind of happened at the same time, Kevin. I was a corporate accountant for a long time. That was my career. And, toward the end of my career, I just wanted to do something completely different and out of character and step outside of the box, so to speak. And so John Doyle and I came up with the idea originally of doing a short film that would include some music videos and some original songs. And it just grew into this amazing journey that ended up being a feature-length film called I'm an Electric Lampshade, which was the first lyric of the first original song that I co-wrote with John. So it's been an amazing, exciting journey over a period of like 5.5 years to get to where we are today.
I mean, I kind of feel you've really shattered the myth that accountants are boring. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone is going to be saying, well, actually, you've set a bar that many accountant might be thinking, God damn you, Doug. You know, you walk into the account section and be like, guys, sing. Be like, but I can't. Well, Doug has shown what accountants can do, so you better get up and give us a number.
Exactly. Yeah, well, some accountants just fit the mold and I don't. So so yes, I hope I set the bar really high for a lot of other accountants to do some exciting stuff when they retire or even before they retire. I hope they start fulfilling some of their wildest inner fantasies instead of living the straight and narrow all the time.
I thought it was interesting at the end of the piece, like when you were kind of narrating during a quiet moment. And there's not many quiet moments of the end concert, but one of the quieter moments, and you were saying that you just wanted to be loved, right? And at the very beginning of this kind of thing, and it's hard to tell, right? Because I think at the very start of this, you do view it like it is a fly on the wall type of documentary.
Sure.
And that all changes. So,
yep,
but
for sure.
I'm kind of feeling that some of that early stuff is more, the reality of some of the things that happen. But the love that you got from all your colleagues, right? There's the whole I want to be loved, but obviously your wife loves you to death.
Yes,
your colleagues love you. So how much more love do you need, Doug? You know what I mean? You're kind of greedy, Doug. What the
hell? Well, I think it's a good question, Kevin, and you got me a little stumped on that one. But how much love do you really need anyway?
I can intervene here and say that having had the privilege of observing this project from the early years to this point, Doug really was, who he seemed to be at the beginning of this film, which was an accountant, a corporate accountant who had not been on stage before, but had harbored these dreams for so long. And I think that the love that he experienced over the course of this film, which is evident in the film and a testament to his character, is this generosity of spirit that you get to know along the journey, all of these other people that we met in the Philippines and in Mexico City, different artists with the same dream. And the film kind of generously shares the spotlight, shines light on people that have this dream. And it's that generosity of spirit, I think, that ultimately is like really infectious about this film.
There is a part of me, Kevin, that even though I was really appreciated by my colleagues, and you know, they really came out to support me, especially on my retirement, which was my real retirement from my corporate life. And even though my wife loves me to bits, and I love her too, I think there's an inner craving, at least there was for me, to really do something for myself that was completely out of character and totally different. Yeah. I really wanted to step outside of my comfort zone. And this was a way to do it. And I got a little taste of it before I retired, because I had a supervisor who retired before I did, who I worked for about 15 years. And I wanted to do something really different and exciting for him. So I made a music video. And that was actually how I met John Clayton Doyle in the first place. John was the choreographer for that music video. And that was a very scary moment for me when I played the music video, which nobody was expecting. It was a complete surprise for everybody in the audience. And I was like, oh boy, how is this gonna go? And it got a standing ovation. You know, people were standing and cheering and clapping and singing along and just having a great time. And it was infectious. And so John and I kept working together, and he said, well, what are we going to do next? And I wasn't really sure. And that's when he said, let's try a film. And at this point I was wide open. I was like, sure, let's try a film. So to answer your question, you kind of become addicted to wanting to go further, wanting to expand your horizons even more. And as Alex said, we were along the journey, we met some amazing people who were real life people as well. And we shared the film with them, and they were so excited to be performing and be acting along with us. And it was great. Absolutely great.
Nice. Do you think, right, because I think this is one of the things that, I don't know, I kind of think sometimes, right, when people are like, oh, I really enjoyed that, right, I like that piece that you did, that thing that you did, and it's like, you know, oftentimes when it's, you know, out of the blue, you're just, oh, thank you, but a part of you then thinks, well, you're my friend, you're gonna say that. So it's like you then reach for more, right? So you do this other stuff because it's the other people you don't know, right? So you're kind of like, well, if I get these people to stand up and dance, then I don't know them. They don't know me. So this I know this will be true. Is that kind of a part of it as well, kind of thing?
Absolutely. Well, yes, you're absolutely right. When you have an audience at the former company you work for who stand up and cheer for you, you know, most of them know you, or at least know who your name.
Yeah, and some of that could be, you know, he's leaving. Yes, yes, finally.
I wouldn't doubt that was the case at all. I wouldn't doubt that at all. But yeah, there is, you know, I along this journey, I really have had a chance to experience what I think a lot of performers, actors experience for themselves is you do this creative thing and you don't know how it's going to be received. You unless you're super accomplished and it just just bounces off you. You're like, how's this going to go? What are people going to think? I mean, what kind of comments am I going to get? What kind of feedback am I going to get? That's part of the excitement of doing it. But part of the excitement also is sharing your inspiration and your vision and your hope that people walk away from the film and go, all right, that guy did something crazy like making a film. But, you know, I've always dreamed of doing this. And if that guy can do it, what the hell, maybe I can too. So if at least one person walks away from this film and says that, then this film was a great success from my perspective.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you did seem to go about things backwards, right? Because a lot of people, you create the album, you put the album out, you put a single out, right? You build, then the concert comes, but you just went concert first. Like,
Yeah.
was there, because the whole thought of that, because when you have the concert, you have people, singing along, dancing and vibing, right? By just jumping straight into the concert, was there the fear that maybe these people, they won't get it, right? They
Yeah.
won't vibe with it, and maybe at the beginning, but will they be with me for the whole ride?
Exactly. Well, when the people came to be the audience members in the concert, yeah, there was definitely a concern on my part of like, are they going to enjoy the music? Are they going to enjoy the show? But I have to say, experiencing it from the front of the stage, the outpouring of support, love, energy, joy from just being up there and performing for all those people was super exciting. And it had always been a dream of mine to do that. And it fulfilled my dream in more ways than one. It was great.
I mean, that's always good to hear. So,
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
an
it was
album?
great.
Are you dropping the album of?
We haven't made specific plans yet for the album. We're really focused on the film first. I think once we have a release date for the film, then we'll start talking more about what we do with the music to accompany it. Um, but right now, our efforts are really focused on the film.
Well, you know, not me to tell you your business, but I think when you drop the film, you need to drop an album to go with the
Yeah,
film, and
I'm with you, Kevin.
yeah,
I'm with you.
other merchandise as well, like lampshades. I mean, there needs to be a Doug lampshade out there in the merch shop for people to buy.
I love it. I love your enthusiasm. Cool. That works for me. We'll design that lampshade right away.
There is a great artist who I've seen, and she creates these sculptures, these light sculptures on like lamp fittings. And I think something like that would be pretty spectacular.
That would be very cool. Yeah, that would be very cool. I like your creative ideas, Kevin. We're open to exploring all possibilities. So it's all cool.
We need to engage you as our publicist and merchandise expert.
Well, I definitely put you in touch with this artist, Cindy Cooper Blair, and the sculptures are incredible. Definitely incredible.
Oh, wow.
But,
all right, cool.
All right, awesome, man. So you kind of went all over the place with this. So you went to the Philippines and Mexico. Like, why those places?
They were actually creative, inspirational ideas from our writer and director, John Clayton Doyle. So when we talked about where the San Andres School would be, we didn't want it to be in the US. We wanted it to be someplace that was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And so John said, hey, what about Manila? And so we explored it, and it actually ended up being an outstanding place to go and film the San Andres School and that part of the film. And then Mexico City, we had talked originally about going back to Manila to film the live concert, but it just didn't end up to be logistically feasible. So then we thought, hey, what about Mexico City? And so then we explored that option, and ended up working out fantastic. We just didn't want it to be a U.S. centric film. John and I really wanted to expand into other cultures and other people, and just have a very diverse variety of cultures, people in the film. And when I look at the film, and I've watched it a lot, as you can imagine, I think we were really successful that way. And I'm very proud of that part.
It's definitely a diverse cast of characters that you bring to the forefront here, which is especially after the retirement, right? Because I did wonder if my video had broken or something, because suddenly we're following someone completely. I'm like, is this working? Like, what? Where's John? Where's Doug? Like, what's happening here? You know what I mean? And then it all ties in. But I thought that was an interesting way to go, and an interesting way to bring these other characters into the piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John definitely wanted to bring some different characters in, and I wanted to explore that as well. Again, it was part of the journey of this film, both real and fictional in some aspects of the film, but definitely real for me, was to go outside my comfort zone and to meet a diverse variety of characters who could really help me become the best performer I could be. And that was a very successful aspect of the film.
Yeah. Alex, from your point of view, working on this project, like, what did you kind of envision when you were coming onto this, that you might be making a music video and then you end up all over the world? Like, what happened in your end?
Well, John and I, the director, John and I have been friends for many, many years. So I had a little bit of an idea of where this might go, which is someplace completely strange and abstract and unexpected, which is exactly what you get from this film. And, it's been such a fun thing because the film, didn't operate from a conventional script. It sort of evolved as Doug evolved. And the film moves through different phases. You might have noticed, I think you noticed, it's a pretty pronounced shift from the beginning phase of the film, the first act of the film, basically, which is basically a dry documentary, into this wild, sort of almost fantasy world of the Philippines, and then into an even more dreamy and nightmarish sequence before reaching a live concert. So certain parts of the film were always part of the plan, and we planned for years, and other parts were spontaneous outgrowths of meeting the people that we met along the way. And also a lot of discoveries were made over the last year in the editing room. So just like, yeah, absolutely. We had absolutely no idea where this trip was going when we started. And it's a pretty wild ride.
It is, Kevin, a testament to John's creativity, because we didn't start with a written script. The script really got created as we filmed. And so, and as Alex points out, we didn't really know until about halfway through that we had a feature-length film. We just had so much good footage, especially after the Manila shoot, that everybody looked at each other and said, this is going to be feature-length. There's no way it's not going to be. So that really changed the whole thought process about the film. Like, what could we really do to make it spectacular at the end, and what could we really do to enhance the whole journey? And so Mexico City, which was our last big filming, was just a culmination of all those creative juices. And Alex had a lot to do with, assisting John with the whole creative process about Mexico. And it really turned out to be an extraordinary time.
And where did the trust come from? Because you just met John and you did this music video, right? And then you've gone on this completely different journey with him. And it's just like with these things, right? I think especially on this creative level, you meet people who you think are aligned with you, and then you divert, right? But you only know that after a period of time. So to trust someone fully, like this from the giddy up? Like, what did you see in like John and Alex? And yeah, we're gonna make Alex sit and listen to you criticize him, and I think you should.
The first.
But what made you think that? Yeah, I can put myself in these guys' hands and you know, create something special here.
Well, John's and my relationship, just from a trust and a respect standpoint, really kind of gelled during the first music video. But then he and I spent a lot of time. He interviewed me for about 3 months talking about my past, my dreams, my aspirations, my career, what I had always wanted to do, etc. And I mean, he took probably two notebooks full of notes about all that stuff. And from that, really was, you know, that was the backbone of the entire film, of the entire journey. John and I just developed a trust for John very early on that continued to build as we worked together. And the people that we brought in, Kevin, I mean, knock on wood, we just had an amazing crew. There were very few people that we had along the journey where we had to say, this isn't working out. Thanks for your input, and, you know, bye-bye, see ya. All the key creative partners that we had, from our editor to our director of photography to our post-production supervisor to the whole post-production team, all awesome. We were just very, very fortunate. Some would call that luck. Some would call it just being in the right place at the right time. I like to think it's the latter. You know, nobody really let me down, which was really, you know, just a great experience. And I know there are a lot of horrible experiences out there. So this ended up being great. And when I met Alex at the first shoot that he kind of directed for us, a special shoot that he did, I mean, we just hit it off right away. And we're good friends now. So it's great.
No, awesome, man.
I know that sounds like, you know, it's too sugar-coated, Kevin, but that's really what happened. It is really what happened. You might say, oh, that's BS, or, you know, the guy's not willing to, you know, say what went wrong. Sure, there were a lot of false starts along the way, and there were a lot of things that, you know, didn't always work out creatively, but you know, it wasn't for a lack of having good people on the film. That's for sure.
That's great, man. I figure I'll wait 5 years for the, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff to come out. Be like, he was a tyrant.
I don't know if you probably won't have to wait that long, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what people say. It's totally fine. Oh, that old ball guy, man. What a pain in the ass he was. Jeez Louise. You never know.
Yeah, we find out that it was a whole Milli Vanilli situation.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That wasn't really his voice. That was all voiceover. That's all bullshit. Yeah. So, hey, it's all good.
Nice, man. Now, one thing that I don't know, I have to ask you if I'm correct in this, right? Because when I was watching the film, right, you kind of look at it and you wonder about certain directions in which you took. And then
Right.
when reading the, you know, the editorial notes and stuff like that, you know, it says that you wanted to take the film and look at it from a queer perspective. And when I was watching it, what I thought was, right, so we have all of these people in Manila, and I think one of them says that when they're on stage that they feel alive and they feel they have a voice. I think that's kind of more or less what they were saying. And
yes, right.
So what I'm thinking, my thought process was that the parallels between your life and their lives is that you were looking to find your new voice, find this voice and be able to perform. And that's what they're looking to do. So, you know what I mean? Even though we're all different, like we all have this dream and aspiration that all coalesces and it's kind of the same. I mean, is that kind of what was going on, or am I completely off the mark?
No, you're not off the, I don't think you're off the mark at all. Yes, so the people that we had who were the drag performers in Manila are all actually drag performers in their own right in various clubs and other venues in Manila. But they all dream of doing something bigger too. And for each of them, I think their greatest joy is actually performing on stage. And as I think the character's name was Tina Morin, who said, you're absolutely right. She said, when I'm not in drag, I feel like I'm a nobody. And when they get dressed in drag and they do an amazing job at doing their makeup and their dressing and all those things, then they really come out. Then they really, the persona for them, the performer in them really jumps out. And yes, you're absolutely right. For me, this was part of the journey, which was, you know, especially in Manila, to see these people and to experience some of what they experienced, and for me to learn what it is to be vulnerable like that, and to be kind of giving of yourself and connecting with your audience and connecting with yourself as a performer. And that was part of the journey. And that was a real journey for me, because I, of course, never had done that before. It was it was scary as hell, but it was, but in the end, it was completely exciting.
And so what was the tax like on you from a physical and mental kind of level? Because we see the kind of creative growth and exploration in this, but were there other things that you had to kind of do to get yourself to that point?
Oh, absolutely. Well, well, first of all, you have to let go of trying to look good. You better let go of that very quickly, because if that's what you're trying to do, you're going to fail at this miserably. So you gotta, at least for me, you gotta kind of let it all hang out and let go of all your preconceived notions of yourself. So that was a big part of the journey for me, certainly. Yeah. So the other thing I would say is that just the doubt, the self-doubt, the nightmares that you have, the waking up in the morning in a cold sweat, knowing what you're going to be doing the next day, even though it's being filmed in a film, or especially when you're doing the Mexico City concert. That's, you know, that's all that self-doubt that says, what are you doing this for? Why did you even try this? You're out of your freaking mind. You know, you should have retired and gone fishing, who knows? But you know, that I think is what all people who perform go through at some point in their career. And you get to see me do it in a film.
Indeed we do, man.
Yes, we definitely do. The nightmare scenes, the fact that my wife does suffer from mental illness, and that was something that always played in the back of my mind. That's all real. That's all real.
Yeah, you do get that sense that there are these breakaway moments in the film where when you're speaking, this is actual kind of the reality of everything that you're kind of putting out there.
Yeah,
which was
absolutely.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was, shall we say, Naked Doug? Yeah. That was Naked Doug. Yeah, that was
Doug.
Yeah, that was the real deal. That wasn't sugar coated. That wasn't fake acting. That was the real deal.
And but I think before we go, I feel that it needs to be asked. You've got to this. You've done the concert. What next, Doug?
That's an excellent question, Kevin, and that's probably the question I get asked the most. The truth is, I don't know, but I am open. I am open to possibility and open to wherever the journey takes me next. I don't rule out possibly doing more performing. I don't rule out, creating more music. I don't rule out any of that stuff. And I don't rule out doing something else completely wild and crazy. You just never know. I mean, if you believe that you're here once, you might as well enjoy the ride. And that's what I plan to do.
Well, it makes sense. And I feel it makes sense that now your voice is out there. It seems kind of crazy to lock it back up, right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I know you've got a busy schedule ahead, and there's other people. I could talk to you all day, Doug. I have got so many questions.
Well, we have time, but I know you've got a busy schedule too, Kevin. So,
well, I mean, if we got time, I'd like to just ask this.
Sure.
Right. So, where's the inspiration for the songs come? Because I think when you look at songwriting, there's people that write, and you can see the songs have got this autobiography. Yeah, they're kind of life stories, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And then there's other people that write, and it's more of a metaphorical kind of a visionary quest type of situation. So where are your songs coming from?
And that's a really good question. So I can't take full credit for the songs, Kevin. The other, we had some other creative writers in the process, and John Clayton Doyle was definitely a important contributor to writing some of the lyrics for the song. But together we created something. We created songs that were part fantasy, freeform, say what comes to your mind, which was exactly what I'm an Electric Lampshade was. And some of the songs were really about what Doug's journey was like along the way, which was another, in a metaphorical way, which was what the song Another Look was like. Catwalk 2 was really about getting outside the box and freeing yourself and feeling the music and dancing and becoming alive, as opposed to kind of locking yourself up and looking around going, oh my God. So there was, that's really what a lot of it was about, at least from my perspective on the songs. I mean, Alex, I know you weren't involved in the writing process, but you've listened to these songs over and over. What do you think?
Yeah, I can tell you that, from the beginning of the process to what you see in the beginning of the film to what you see at the live concert, I mean, it's really the story of Doug finding his voice and finding a unique persona as a performer, which is something he started out not having at all and being quite rough around the edges, if I'm being honest. And it's incredible to see the evolution over, we see it through a couple kind of training montages and stuff, and you just see it in the film, and it's just something really spectacular to behold. With every passing year of life, it gets harder and harder to take on new challenges. I think you become kind of calcified in your personality, and so it's really, really inspiring to see someone start that journey at age 60, at retirement, when most people are kind of checking out, hanging it up.
Oh no, definitely. I think that's one of the big takeaways from this. So I kind of feel whether you like the music or you don't, right? The thing that you look at is the fact that this accountant decided to do something completely different with his life, right? And it wasn't like, you know what, I'm gonna retire, I think I might collect stamps. No, it was just like, I'm gonna sing on a friggin' stage. And it wasn't, I'm gonna be TikTok famous. It was like, no, a goddamn stage in another country, that's what I'm gonna do. So it's just like, if this 60-year-old accountant, and as we know, accountants are boring, right? Accountants are boring, right? If he can break that stereotype and do this, then hey, I could do my dream. And I think that's the huge takeaway. Like, if you want to boil it down to anything, I think that's something that anyone can look at and take some inspiration from.
That would be a wonderful thing. I think all of us that worked on the film would find it to be hugely successful and gratifying if we got some feedback from people that said, I watched your film, I couldn't believe what you did, and I'd always dreamed about doing whatever, and now I'm gonna try it. Because I don't know about you, Kevin, but even before people retire, even when they're in the middle of their lives, like in their 40s or 50s, they're already saying, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I'm too old for this, or we all hear it all the time. They check out before they even give it a try. And the inspiration for this is, just try it. Maybe it doesn't work out, man, but just try it. At least you'll be able to say at the end, gee, I'm sorry. Instead of saying, I'm sorry I didn't do this, or I wish I had tried to do this, at least you can say, yeah, I gave it a try. It worked out. It didn't work out, whatever, but at least I tried it. And I never have to look back and say, God, I wish I had been a performer like, had tried to do something like David Byrne. And I don't have to look back at that anymore. I can say, yeah, maybe I'm not David, but hell, I tried it. So it's all good.
Indeed. That could be the next thing, right? Doug against the world. And you go and try something new every time. Exactly. Like, what next can we have you go do?
I don't know. That you never know, Kevin. You just never know.
I asked people for questions. When I, knew we were going to do this, and Greta Thunberg got in touch, and she said, "Look, I respect Doug for making the film, but I'm not too big on electricity. Can we have a greener lampshade?" You know what I mean? So could that be the thing? Right? Greta wants a green lampshade, Doug.
She wants a green lampshade. Okay, we'll see what we can do. No, we'll make sure that all the lights are LED, and we will solar power everything, and we'll make it as green as we possibly can, man.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
I'm telling you.
I really appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, Kevin, very much.
Been a lot of fun for the conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it too. Thanks again.
All right, man. All the success with the film, man.
Thank you so much. Yep.
All right, you take it easy. And
you too. See you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.